Yes, good afternoon all. So today we'll be discussing the experiment number 3 of your software engineering lab. We have already discussed the first and the second assignment, uh, and you have been already allotted with the projects team wise. So we will be discussing the third experiment, which is how to develop a data flow diagram of your project. Now we have already discussed what is the software requirement specification and what is the structure of software requirement specification. So we all know that data flow diagram is a very important part of your software requirement specification. So we will discuss how we design the data flow diagram for any of the given project. Now before going to the experiment, as we have made it a habit to discuss the vision and the mission of the institute, the vision and mission of the department, and the course outcomes of the subject, so we will continue with that habit of ours. So the first is vision of JECRC, which is to become renowned center of outcome based learning and work towards academic, professional, cultural and social enrichments of the life of individual and communities. Now, to achieve this vision, we have developed 4 missions. The first one is focus on evaluation of learning outcomes and motivate students to inculcate research aptitude by project based learning. Identify areas of focus and provide platform to gain knowledge and solutions based on informed perception of Indian, regional and global needs. Offer opportunities for interaction between academia and industry. Develop human potential to its fullest extent so that intellectually capable and imaginatively gifted leaders can emerge in a range of professions. Now, to match with the vision and mission of the institute, we have designed the vision of the Department of Computer Science, which is to become renowned center of excellence in computer science and engineering and make competent engineers and professionals with high ethical values prepared for lifelong learning. Now, to achieve this vision, we have designed 4 missions. The first mission statement is to impart outcome based education for emerging technologies in the field of computer science and engineering, to provide opportunities for interaction between academia and industry, to provide platform for lifelong learning by accepting the changes in technologies, and to develop aptitude of fulfilling social responsibilities. Now, these are the objectives of your software engineering lab. We already discussed the first 2 in the previous labs. Today we'll be discussing the third one, which is developing data flow model. Now, as we discussed in the first 2 labs, after completing this particular lab, that is the outcome of this lab will be you will be able to understand the software requirement analysis structure, the case tools, software testing and other configuration tools. Similarly, you will be able to understand the functional modeling, the data modeling, the use work products, the data dictionary part also. Also, you will be able to understand the structural and the behavioral unified modeling language diagrams with the use of project management tool, which we will be discussing in the last lab. Now, the third objective of your software engineering lab is how do you develop a data flow model. Now, we already discussed in the theory lecture, but we'll revise it that what is data flow diagram and how do you draw the data flow diagram. Now, as we all know that data flow diagram is basically what? It is a graphical representation of flow of data in an information system. So it is capable of depicting the incoming data flow, the outgoing data flow and the stored data, right? So there are 2 types of data flow diagram. The first one is the logical DFD and second one is the physical DFD. Now, what is logical DFD? Logical DFD basically concentrates on the system process and flow of data in the system. For example, if you consider a banking software system, then the data is moved between different entities. How that data is moved between different entities is depicted by your logical DFD. while physical DFD is more closer to the implementation part, so it actually depicts how the data flow is actually implemented in the system. Now these are the components of your data flow diagram. The first one is the entity, the process, the data store and the data flow. Now entity is, you can say it is the source and the destination of information data, like from where the information flows and where does it reach. So those are known as entities. They are represented by your rectangles. Now another is the process. Another component is your process. So process is what action and activities are taken by these entities. These are shown by your circle. Now the third component is your data store. So you can either represent the data store using a rectangle with absence of both the smaller sides or one of the smaller side, right? So either the three sides of the rectangle will be visible or two sides of the rectangle will be visible in a data store. Both are correct. Now the fourth component is your data flow. As you are showing the flow of data, so it will be shown by pointed arrows from source to destination. So the head of the arrow will be pointing towards the destination of your information flow. Now there are three levels of DFD. We will be studying the 0 level and the 1 level DFD. Now 0 level DFD is the highest abstraction level, that is all the details are hidden from the user, only the major entities are identified and the major flow of information is shown. It is also known as context level DFD because it hides all the information from the user. When you go more specific in your DFD, that is whenever you break down your entities or whenever you break down your flow of data basic modules into more advanced ones, then you will say that you form the level 1 DFD. So it basically mentions all the processes and the source of the information. Now the next level is basically level 2. It again shows how the data flows inside the modules, right? In level 1 you are showing the flow of data amongst the various modules, while in case of level 2 every module will show every module will have its own flow of information. In this particular lab we will be dealing with only two level DFDs, 0 and 1. Level 2 you will be dealing with in your project lab, where we will be discussing the level 2 DFDs, because generally all the information is shown using level 1 DFD. Now suppose there is an online shopping, we'll take the most basic example, which is online shopping system. So level 0 DFD simply shows there are two entities, online shopping system and the customer. So customer orders something from the online shopping system and online shopping system delivers the item which was ordered to the customer. Now when you will go into detail of this online shopping system, then you will be showing it in your level 2 DFD. Similarly, if there are various types of customers, then you can also break the customer into various type of customers and the actions which will be performed by those customers. See this level 1 DFD of the online shopping management. We have taken only the basic points so that you will be able to understand. So the customers are, now the process is completely divided and it has identified the shopping system has been divided into three entities, which are, one is accounts, another one is stores, and third one is sales. So obviously whenever you are shopping something, then it will be that online system will take it from some of the store and deliver it to you, right? It will also do some kind of accounting process, because you are, whether you will be paying it by cash or whether you will be paying it online. So this all will be handled by a separate entity, which is accounts entity, and there will be a sales entity which will be processing and ordering everything to the customer. Now since we are dealing with the online shopping system, so obviously the data of the customer will be stored somewhere, so that data store is represented by a customer data. Now what is happening here, customer is simply ordering and getting delivered from the sales. Now inside that particular process, what is happening is that order processing is identified as that process which is communicating with all the entities. Now how it is communicating with your accounts is, it will do the finance verification part. How was the payment done, whether the payment done was successful or not. So this all will be taken by your order processing process. Similarly, it will communicate with your store entity by by requesting the item from the store, and the store will be issuing item to the order processing. It is very simple. And the customer data as well, it will be storing the data if it is the first time shopper, or if it is a continuous shopper, then the data will be already stored in the customer data, so it will verify whether the data provided by the customer is correct or not. Similarly, whether the address is proper or not, all these kind of informations will be verified by the order processing by interacting with your customer data store, right? So this was a very basic example. Now we'll be discussing a case study of your library information system. You already use you have been using this library information system in our institute also. So once I discuss this library information system with you all, what you will have to do in this particular lab is, you already have been assigned with various projects, right? So you will make the level 0 and the level 1 DFD of your project. Currently we'll be doing it on manual basis, that is, we will be doing it on paper only. In the final lab, in the 7th lab, we'll be discussing a tool or through which you can be able to implement the unified modeling language diagrams. Once you will understand what are UML diagrams, and once you will understand the tool, then you can draw this DFD on the tool always. The most important thing is, how do you identify the entities, how do you identify the processes. Drawing it using some tool is very easy, because all the tools are drag and drop tools, so it is very easy. You just pick up a rectangle and it will ask you to name it, so you can name it stores. You can similarly, you can drag a circle, it will ask you to name it as a process, so you can name it as ordered processing, and so on. So now let us discuss the library information system level 1 DFD. See, what is happening here is, first of all, see the data store. There are two data stores here. One is books data, one is for the books database, another one is for the members database. Obviously, since you are a member to the library, so your data will be stored in the library. Similarly, the books data will also be stored in the library, right? Now you can check what are the entities. So the first entity is your member. So suppose you are already a member of your library, suppose you have already entered into the first year and you have been issuing your books, so you are a member of the library. But when you first enter into the library the first time, then obviously you are the non-member, so there will be a detail through which you can become the member of your library. So first of all, let us discuss what is non-member. Non-member is the first time visitor of your library. So what will happen, the librarian will register you to the library, so this particular register process is defined. Now for registering process to execute, it will require certain user details from you. What is your name, which class you belong to, what is your section, then what is your where is your ID proof, and all these details you will be providing it to the register process, right? And this register process will generate a unique identification number, which is your user ID. This user ID will be unique identification number for each and every student. So now this register process will store all this information in the member database, right? So, and this member database will communicate this particular information to the registered uh, process, which will in which will again supply the information to the non-member. So this part of the data flow diagram is clear, everyone. Now see, whenever a member enters into the library, first of all you will obviously have to check whether he or she is a member or not. So you will have to check his login credentials whether he is a member or not. So this will be checked by another process which is authentication. All of us know that whenever we log into a particular system, then authentication process executes, which check whether the login credentials are correct or not, whether the username is existing or not, whether the password is correct or not. So this particular process will interact with the member entity to check whether the login credentials are correct or not. Now how will it check whether the login credentials are correct? It will obviously take the information from the member database. So if the stored entry matches with the entered entity, you will say that this is the correct data. So this particular authentication is corrected. So it will move to the issue book module. If the login failure exists, it will again go to give a message to the member that your login credentials are not correct. So re-enter your email ID or re-enter your username, re-enter your password. So this particular process is clear, right? So once you are an authenticated user for this library, then you can always ask for a issue of a book, right? So this is 1.2, which is identifying how do you get a book issued. So whenever you are requesting a book to be issued, what will happen? This issue book will issue the transaction details to the member first, right? And then it will go to the update book status, because obviously you have to store the information that कौन सी बुक ऑलरेडी इशू हो गई है और कौन सी बुक नहीं हुई है. दिस ऑल विल बी स्टोर्ड वेयर? इट विल बी स्टोर्ड इन द बुक्स डेटाबेस. सो whenever a user is requesting something, then obviously first of all this will update the book status, and it will where it will update, it will update to the books database. So this is the second data store, which is books database. So once a book is issued, then the information will be stored in the books database, right? So this particular portion is clear. Now see what happens. Obviously you cannot issue a book to yourself, so another entity comes into picture, which is library staff, right? So whenever you are executing or whenever you are asking any book to be issued, the library staff will book the issue command, right? A member cannot issue a book command, so the library staff will book a issue command, so that the book is issued and so that the information is floated to the books database. Similarly, once the book is issued, so the transaction details will be given to the library, to the member, that okay, this particular book is issued to you, right? So this particular flow of data is correct. This particular flow of data is clear, everybody. This particular flow of data is correct. Similar to the issue book, the return book is also working. So whenever a particular member is asking for a return book to be returned, then obviously the book return command will be invoked by this library staff, and this will be updating the status through this update book status process to the books database, right? Now this is all about your issuing and returning of the book. Now whenever a new book arrives into your library, then this particular module will be executing, right? So the librarian will enter the new book details using this add book process. The new book details will be updated, and it will be finally updated to your data store of the books. Similarly, if a book has been missing, or you can say that if that book is not in the proper form to be issued, then in that case you will have to be the librarian will have to remove that book from the library. So if it is damaged, suppose, then it will simply invoke this particular process, which is remove book from the library, and this all will be stored in your books database. Now the member can also inquire a particular book, whether this particular book is available in the library or not. So whenever it will inquire a book, it will obviously interact with what? Data store of the books. So it will simply fire a query to the books database, and if the matching occurs, then it will give the list of the books to the member. Yes, I hope this level 1 DFD is clear to everyone. First of all, we have identified the users. There are basically 3 users, in fact 4 users for this particular system. The first one is member, second is non-member, third is library staff, and fourth is librarian. In some cases, library staff and librarian can be same physical user, but we are treating them as two different logical users. Now what can be the processes? The processes can be, first of all, you have to register a new member, then you have to authenticate a already existing member, then a book can be issued, a book can be returned. During this, you will have to update the book status. All these information will be stored where? And in the books database. Whenever you are issuing a book, you are returning a book, whether the librarian is adding a new book to the library or removing a existing book from the library, it will all be stored in your books data store using the update book status, which is 1.4 in your diagram. Similarly, all the information about the members of the data members of your library will be stored in another data store, which is member database, and this all will be done through the authentication and the register process of your library. Now another module is simply your searching module. This is the most basic library information system we have considered. Now we will add file management also. You can also add file management module to your library. So there will be another module for it, for this particular software, which will be fine calculation. Obviously the librarian will calculate the fine depending on your date of issue and date of return of the book. So this particular books database will also store when the book was issued and when the book was supposed to be returned and when it was actually returned, right? Similarly, you can also add, suppose you have a biometric, you have a, what do you call it, you have some security mechanism in your library, like barcode reading. So that particular process, that particular module can also be designed. So if there is a module for barcode, then it can be added to this particular existing user status. So I hope that this is clear to everyone. So you will be, now you have to draw level 1 DFD of the projects already allotted to you in teams. You can all discuss, the team can discuss amongst each other, and they may ask if they have any doubt. Okay, thank you.